Hey guys, it's Kat and I'm back today for a review of a palette. Oh my god, what? It is the Lime Crime Venus XL palette. So I was kindly sent this from a subscriber of Beauty News. So she sent this through, Sana, thank you very much, sweetheart. So she knew that I was interested in this and didn't want to break my low buy, so she was very kind enough to send this over. So shout out to her, this video is dedicated to you. So I have had this for, I don't know, going on a month or just over a month now, and I've been struggling trying to balance my one month, one palette, which is a series I do where I focus on one palette for a whole month and I take photos of looks that I've been creating from it and I use every single shade and I let you know what I think about it. I've been struggling working other palettes around those, so it's taken me some time to kind of get my head around this palette, but this was the newest release from Lime Crime and it is sort of like an extra large version of their first Venus palette. Now they've got a third Venus palette coming out soon, so this is not the third Venus palette, this is just an extra large version of the first one. If you've got the first one, you will notice even though the shade names are different, there are sort of double ups in similar shades. But I don't have any of the Venus palettes, so I was very happy to try this. So this is Lime Crime. It's up to you if you want to support the brand. It's up to you, but I'm doing a review, so no comments about, well, you got Lime Crime. Like, yeah, do your own thing. Stop telling me what to do. Anyway, so this is quite a large palette. It's got 18 shades and they contain 1.67 grams of product each. So you're getting a lot of product over the whole palette, and because it is Lime Crime, it is certified vegan and cruelty free. Now if you look at the colors in this palette, that's quite a feat because generally it's hard to get vegan eyeshadows that are of pinks and reds because the main pigment that they use in red products like lipsticks and everything is carmine, which is actually crushed bugs. So the fact that they could create this beautiful palette that is vegan and cruelty free is a very good thing. So I like that. That's the shades there. You can see the packaging is like a cardboard. It's quite thick, but it's not like too thick. It's not, I can't travel with this, but at the same time, like it's not too chunky, but it's not the thinnest palette I've seen in the world. It does have a nice size mirror. You can see my cat. There's my cat. So there's the mirror. Dirtles. No, she's dead to the world. So anyway, it's a nice size mirror. It's not one of those weird mirrors that are sort of warped and make it like, I've got one palette that when you try to use it, the mirror is so cheap, it kind of makes you feel seasick. So a nice size mirror, you can do your makeup in it. A lot of people don't like that. I love doing my eyeshadow and my eyeliner close to a mirror. So I love palettes that have mirrors because I use it and I'm literally like right in there trying to use it. So I do personally like that. But at the same time, it can bend it can lie flat, it can bend back. So if you don't want to use the mirror, you can just use that on your desk very easily. Another thing I like is the names are listed under the pans, so very, very easy to refer to them. There is a slip, like it was just a slip, and that was a little sticker from the mirror, but it's just to protect the shadows rather than to give you information, which is great. Now, I want to talk about, I'll talk about the shades first. I like the shades and every look that I've sort of created from this, I really do like. My favorite things in here are probably the really dark shades. So on my eyes today, you can see I'm actually wearing a bit of this just to blend things out. I'm wearing Ethereal on the lid, which is sort of like a shimmery shade. It's a pink with a sort of slight gold shift to it. It's more of a satin finish. I'll get to that in a second, but it's, yeah, it is a shimmer shade, but it looks more satin on the eyes. Then on the outer corner, I've got this really dark, beautiful shade. It's a very, very dark wine shade called Botticelli, and this is a matte. Look at that. Holy shit. So that's what I've got. And then because I wanted to add a little bit more color, I've got Passion, which is sort of like a magenta matte as well. So beautiful shades. I'm just swatching these so I can then take them off my hand. I did one upside down, but you can see that they like pack a punch with pigment. They're not super, super buttery, but they do have nice pigmentation. yeah, I think what I like about this, I find that the shades work really well together. They're very, very pink. There's only a few shades in there that are sort of browns or neutrals. You've got one up here, which is like a tan shade. You've got this, which is like a warm transition brown. That is more of a dark sort of shimmery chocolate brown. So besides the browns, I don't know, there are some shades that sort of lean a little bit purpley, like maybe down here looks quite purple. But it's not really. This shade up here, which is Fresca, is a nice cool toned sort of mauvey color with a bit of gold sparkle in it. So these are a little bit more cool toned. I'll also swatch this guy here, which is New Classic. So these are a little bit more cool toned, a little bit more neutral compared to the pinks. They all swatch really nicely. They all apply very, very nicely. And I really love these kind of colors right now for like the cooler months. I think it creates a really beautiful soft look. But besides those, everything else is pretty much some form of pink. So it's either a shimmery sort of warm pink, I don't know, more of a bronzy pink, a really vibrant pink, a slightly more cool tone shimmery pink. This one is like a burnt brown kind of color, coral pink, light pink, browny pink. This is the same sort of formula as that. It's a matte with a bit of a sparkle in it. This is a satin pink. This is like a wine, which you can argue as being a very, very dark pink. This one's more of, like I said, that taupey kind of pink. This is more of a dusty pink, and this is more of a light shimmery pink with a bit of gold. So this kind of reminds me a lot of this one, just a little bit more pink. So those are the shades there. They're very, very similar. They have the same kind of effect. One, which is that top one, Eden, is a little bit more peachy, a little bit darker, and that bottom one that I have all over the lid is a little bit more pink and softer, lighter. So very, very similar. I'm actually going to cut to a swatch video of these so you can see how they swatch. I haven't actually filmed that yet, so I don't know how they're going to perform all swatched, but I have used all shades and they do apply quite nicely on the eyes. So yeah, we'll go to the swatch video. So those were the swatches, and when it comes to the formula, I like these. I think they work very nicely on the eyes. I don't think they aren't very patchy. They apply quite nicely. They're not super, super pigmented, but they put a nice amount of color on the eyes and can be built up. I particularly like that with these kind of dark shades because I don't like putting too much and then not being able to remove it. I like things that I can kind of put on softly and then build up, and these do that. I do think these are a drier form of eyeshadow, so they are very soft, and you know, you feel them, but they almost feel a little bit chalky. The pigmentation is great, but they do feel a little bit chalky in formula. So slightly drier formula, but you can definitely work with them. But they all, you know, they've got nice pigmentation. They work really well. So I like the formula. I do like the colors. But what I think overall with this is I feel like there is a lack of variety here. So there are a lot of pinks, and that's fine. It is a pink palette. It is what it is. But for me, I think you could sort of highlight the pinks by adding in other shades that work well with them. Like I always harp on about a nice, beautiful dark purple. What I like about this palette, I particularly like the dark purple shades. I think they're gorgeous. Like this shade is a winner. I really like these sort of softer, more mauvey colors. Just the things that are slightly a little bit cooler. I think it creates more of a romantic smoky look with this palette. When I first used this palette and the first few times I used it, all the kind of looks that I created were very, very pink and very, very warm. And I found it hard to get a lot of versatility out of this. So that you can get versatility, but at the same time, like you've got pink, you've got pink, you've got pink, pink. So those are all various types of pinks. So these are all various types of pinks that you have in the palette. And for me, even though you can see that they all have some differences, I don't think they're different enough. I would have liked to have seen some more peachy ones, some more maybe purpley ones, so you can reach for this palette and get more of a varied look than just like a bright pink. I've also noticed that even though I really like the dark shades in here, they all sort of swatch to be very similar. So these are some of these sort of shades here. That all, even though in the pan they look different, they give the same effect on the eyes. So as this palette is, even though it is very pretty and I do like the looks and I quite like the formula and I will be reaching for it to add pops of color and whatnot to particular looks, I do think that there are huge limitations with this. There is one matte cream shade which I'm very happy to see, but there are no highlighter shades in here whatsoever. If you like a kind of popping inner corner highlight, there is nothing in here. The closest is probably this shade, and that's more, it performs more like a satin if anything. So I find the shimmers in here, they are more of a soft shimmer, so they more, I don't know, I would say that they're verging on like a satin finish. Some of them look quite metallic or sparkly, but the sparkly ones apply matte. These ones just apply sort of like just yeah, like a satin on the eyes. So what you're getting with this palette is sort of like a grungy pink. You can get some smokiness in it, but all the finishes kind of look very similar. Yeah, you just have 18 pans, and I feel like there are so many that are so similar that there is a lot of redundant shades. And if this was organized from like lightest to darkest, I think you would notice that some of the shades are just so similar that you don't need them all. So if you did love that sort of pink romantic sort of smoky eye that you can either go quite soft, quite bright, or quite smoky and dark with those kind of wine berry shades, then this is a palette that you'd really like. If you like sort of popping highlighters or really metallic finish shimmers, they don't have it. And I think with 18 shades, it's just lacking texture and versatility. This shade is a standout. I don't know why they didn't put many peaches to go with it. Even dark peaches, smoky peaches, a metallic peach. And I really do love these ones that are hinting at a little bit of like coolness. I would have loved to have seen some more, maybe even a grey, maybe even some more cooler toned purples, just to add some versatility with this, because at the moment it's a very flat kind of color palette. It's very limiting with the textures and the finishes, so it performs well. I like the looks that I create with it, but can I distinguish when I use this one, that one? You know, not really. They kind of all just look like a sort of smoky pink on the eye, which, you know, is a look in itself, but I just feel like probably for a smaller palette that makes more sense. For a larger palette, it is very same. So I like this palette. If you like the colors, check it out because the formula is quite nice. It's a really nice color palette for a vegan palette as well, because it's quite hard to get these sort of really intense pinks. And if you did like want the Modern Renaissance palette but you wanted something that's a vegan formula, like these do have some very similar kind of colors in there, so like these sort of dark pinks. But at the same time, that palette did have like a cool taupey brown, it did have a burnt orange, it did have a burnt red. So that one still has more sort of variety when it comes to colors, even though this has more shades and should have more finishes and colors. Yeah, so it's a pretty palette. If you like the pinks and you want a vegan formula, check it out. But I would have liked to have seen just a bit more versatility in it. But I do really like some of the looks you can create from it. I think it's really pretty, but you do have to be a little bit more restrained, because if you apply too many pinks, you can look like a clown. All right, guys, that was my review of the Lime Crime Venus XL. Hopefully that makes sense. I know it was a bit rambly. It's one of those palettes that I do really like, and I can see the benefit in it, but I can also see how it could have been a lot better by like you could, I find for me, I can't really use this all year round because I prefer peaches and stuff. When it comes to summer, I would like to see a little bit more like goldy kind of shades. And then when it comes to winter, I really do like to pull out some smoky purples and some pinks that will complement that. And even though I do have shades like that this palette can complement, I think 18 pans, it should give you a nice versatility throughout the year of sort of warmer shades, cooler shades, and just something that's not just pink. Alright guys, hopefully you enjoyed that. If you did, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys soon for something else. I don't know what it is, but it'll be something else. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye.